All right, folks, welcome back to World Class Nerd. I am joined by Paul Davis. Paul, you got to say something on the podcast. They can't see you not, man.
Oh, hey, how you doing? Sorry, I thought we were videoing.
We are videoing, but there's also a podcast. So.
Oh, nobody listens to that. Hey, how you doing, all our two fans?
Video has sound too.
That's Paul Davis, ladies and gentlemen, and that's about it for tonight's show. No, also joined by Danny Wade.
Hello there.
And always a pleasure to be joined by my lovely wife, Heather Lamb. Say hello, Heather. Don't
hello. Yeah,
no, I didn't talk either at first.
They can't hear the salute.
It was gonna be so cool, but.
All right, so before we get started here, let me take a moment to say if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, all that kind of jazz. Look down in the notes below, and there's a ton of links for different things for the website, etc. Also, there's a cool feature from our new host, Anchor.fm. If you go to our Anchor page, and I will provide a link in the show notes if you're on the podcast or down below in YouTube, there is actually an option where you can leave a voice message from the Anchor website for us. So it's a cool feature. We haven't really tried it out yet, but we'd love to hear some feedback. So I will provide that link down below. Go check it out. Leave us a message. Leave us some kind of feedback, and that would be great. We'd like to hear from you guys.
I actually predict our first message will be, "Hello, I've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty."
Or, "Hello from Marriott Hotels. You've won a."
Is your student loans becoming unbearable?
Sounds like I've heard those before.
Yeah.
No, and seriously, folks, if you would give us a like, a good comment, anything, that'd be much appreciated to help us grow the show. If you don't like what you see, please go to another Apple podcast and pick on them, because we don't need it. Thank you.
That's what sets us apart from the other shows right there. Paul Davis's caring attitude.
Mm.
All right,
I care. I'm just not going to do anything about it, but I care.
So we had a little change of plans. We were going to do an Expanse show this week, but then this little thing called Wandavision came out and derailed all those plans, because Wandavision is kind of wonderful. So last minute we decided to do Wandavision, and there have been 3 episodes now, and I'm just speaking for myself. They draw me further in with each episode. So anybody want to give a little synopsis of the show in general? No?
It is all your favorite retro sitcoms ever melded into one ball of goodness.
Absolutely. I mean, if you haven't watched the show, you might not want to be listening to this, so spoilers ahead.
Oh, yeah.
But the first show was Dick Van Dyke. All these shows I've seen have done are shows I used to watch as a young man, or through the summer. Not live. I mean reruns. Excuse me. I'm not that old.
Back in the Paul was a young man.
I was young once, yes. But in the 80s, they'd play these after school or before school or during summer break. And the Dick Van Dyke Show was always one of my favorites. The next one they did was Bewitched. Love Bewitched.
Epic.
And today's episode, or Friday's episode, I just watched it today, was the Brady Bunch. Never was a big Brady Bunch fan, but I respect what they're doing here. All in all, the acting is tremendous. These serious actors that have played superheroes on screen and make you believe that they're very big, rough, and tough characters, they do some very good comedy. Very, very good.
Yeah, I'm impressed with their range that they're showing here.
Yes.
So, look, if you haven't watched the show, you might want to check out at this point, honestly. because we're going to spoil the crap out of it for you. But I mean, it's probably still worth watching, even if you listen to us spoil it. I mean, we don't know that much about what's going on with this thing anyway.
Yeah, a lot of theories.
Yeah, there is this setting of the sitcom eras, but also there's a big mystery box here, and everybody loves the mystery box. So there's all is not as it seems. Obviously, you don't jump from the 50s to the 60s to the 70s in real life. So there's something bigger going on here, and you can only speculate on what it is because they're very carefully revealing little bits and pieces. Although, am I wrong here, Danny? Did they take a bigger leap forward with the reveals in this episode, you think, than the first 2 episodes?
Yes, I think they did.
In reveals, yes, I think so. They showed a lot. They showed a lot more stuff outside of the WandaVision neighborhood scenario this time.
I think there's things that were caught, small things that were caught in the first episode that kind of like, okay, set you on a direction in the second episode. It's like, oh, okay, maybe I think I know. And then the third episode, it's like, oh, you get a lot more questions, but you also kind of line up some things.
I think we're seeing a lot through the secondary characters' point of views. They're the ones dropping the hints and cluing us in. You have Vision, who is onto the mystery. He's trying to figure out the mystery, and then you have Wanda, who is blocking it.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're going to jump pretty quickly into speculation because that's a lot of what we can do with
There's
it.
a lot of stuff there.
Do you guys think this is Wanda? Is Wanda doing this, or is this something that's being done to Wanda? Paul, what do you think?
I think. Oh,
no, go ahead, Danny. Go ahead.
Okay, I think that Wanda is kind of going with this, but I think somebody else is kind of maybe throwing some left turns for her in there, maybe some changing some stuff in front of her. It's not just Wanda.
Yeah, I agree. My personal opinion is I think Wanda has had is like having a breakdown, and her mental breakdown, and her magic is creating this world, and there's outside forces trying to get into her world to get to her and maybe take control of the magic, take control of her, do something to her, But I think ultimately she is the one driving all this with her magic.
I think that somebody's amping up her powers, but I think that, like Paul said, that she's driving it. I mean, I think she has manipulated this whole town, because I think this town has become smaller. But I think she is definitely the one her power has just become huge, and she's able to kind of manipulate everyone.
So I think there's multiple forces at play here. I think she is the engine that's driving this thing for sure. And I think you can pretty safely say after watching this third episode that Wanda is basically making the people of the actual town dance like little puppets in her show. Mm-hmm. But I think, Sword obviously is in play here as well. But Sword, I think, is maybe trying to get to her.
I think there's a race, because we've seen Sword symbol a couple of times. Once on that helicopter, which was Iron Man colors, mm-hmm. and the other on the neighbor lady with the necklace that showed it. But there's also been Hydra. We had a commercial for Hydra cleaning solution.
Oh yeah,
the Hydra symbol.
You got the Strucker, yes. Strucker.
Well, Strucker is Hydra. Hydra is Strucker.
Mm-hmm. So.
AIM.
The beekeeper guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, yeah, I thought of that too.
That looks.
Well, it's all the hive things.
Mm-hmm.
Has anybody noticed the butterfly references through every episode? This is one of the first things I was catching on to.
No, I remember the butterflies from her the mobile the child's mobile she put up
Yeah,
that came
that's the
from
one I
drinking
remember.
the life.
What else do we have?
In the first episode, the butterflies were on the calendar when she was in the kitchen and they were looking at the heart on the calendar.
Oh, okay.
With a picture on it, there were butterflies there. And then in the third episode, I was trying to remember. I can't remember where it was in the third, but this kind of goes back, I think, to some of the Doctor Strange things, because if you saw Doctor Strange, the movie, there was references to the butterflies in that. So I don't know if maybe there's a connection here a little bit,
Well,
but there's also
is she supposed to turn up in the Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness? Is that not her next appearance after WandaVision?
I don't know, but that would make sense.
I think she is. I think she's scheduled to be in that. So you may be onto something there, Danny, with a connection to that.
But there's also another connection to the butterfly, and that is Layla Miller. She was known as Butterfly, and she comes out of the House of M stuff, the X-Men stuff, or X Factor. She was a member of the X Factor.
Man, you are digging deep down in there.
Well, those butterflies really hit me, and I was wanting to try and figure out what the butterflies were. And,
well, Danny, you might be able to answer this then. Was there any butterflies when they showed her in the Avengers movies, the Rise of Ultron?
Yes. Oh, no, not Ultron, but in it wasn't Endgame, but the one before that.
Infinity Wars.
Infinity Wars, where one appeared on Vision's nose.
And that would have significance because the one in this latest episode had settled on his nose.
Yes. So, and one of her powers, and also her powers aren't perfect. In other words, they go awry sometimes. Mm-hmm. But she can see past and future. And I think she can even interact with past and future.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
Layla Miller.
I thought she was a mutant that had chaos magic. Plus, she'd been trained by Agatha Harkness.
She's got several powers.
To be able to harness like the magical energies like Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Well, in all honesty, Paul, Wanda's whole backstory and her powers and everything about her has changed like 5 or 6 times.
Very true. I mean, she's not even considered a mutant anymore. Her and Pietro, they're not even mutants anymore.
And they're not even related to Magneto anymore. So
yeah, no. His only relation is Laura, his magnetically charged daughter.
Yeah.
What was her last name, Heather?
Lorna Dane.
Yeah, Lorna Dane. Yes.
So, I think you mentioned AIM, Heather. I think AIM is definitely involved in this. And maybe you're right, Paul. It's a race from multiple different agencies and powers to try to somehow use her abilities.
You know what you get when you have AIM and you have Hydra? You got 2 characters with big old heads going to fight each other. You got Armin Zola. You got the big old head in his robot's chest. You got MODOK on AIM side, another big old head. This could be big.
I think the world needs a live action MODOK. That's
absolutely.
We've only seen him at conventions.
Right.
There was one time, folks, of the audience, all 4 of us were at Dragon Con in Atlanta, Georgia. And my wife and I were trying to walk down this tiny, tiny crowded hallway. And this dude in a life-size MODOK costume, now 7 foot tall, about 6 feet wide, just took us out. Slammed me and my wife against the wall. Didn't mean to. He was just trying to get to the restroom, get down the hall. But it was amazing. His costume was just phenomenal.
It was.
I think he had one of those built in there, so he wouldn't have to try to get out of it.
Lord, I hope so. He had enough room. He had a 3-bedroom apartment in there in that big old head.
If you folks are following Tales from the Long Box, our comic-centric show, you'll know well Paul Davis's obsession with the giant head characters.
I love a giant head.
So many jokes. So many jokes.
Oh, Paul.
So, do we have favorite episodes here so far, or?
Oh man, it just gets better and better.
Yeah.
I almost got to say what context, because as soon as they showed up with the first one, I was like, oh, I love their house. I love their furniture. And then when the 60s, not so much, but when it went into the Brady Bunch house, I was like, because Paul, that's what I watched after school, was like wholesome classic stuff. And when it was like, I was like, oh, that's the Brady Bunch. That's the stairway, and the door. So I just love how detailed they've gotten with the set.
But did you catch that set?
Say what?
Did you catch the special thing about that set? It may not mean anything, but it's the very first thing I caught when I saw it. Okay, Dick Van Dyke was the first set. It was perfect, spot on. Bewitched was the second set, pretty much spot on. Brady Bunch was flipped.
Hey, yeah.
But to be spot on in the other two, and that to be flipped, that kind of caught my attention. Maybe not mean anything.
At this point, with people looking at butterflies and beekeepers coming out of the sewer and little toy helicopters,
everything's a clue.
Everything potentially could be a clue. I mean, just you got to pay attention to everything.
Well, I love the backyard because it had the 1970s, the fake grass, the astroturf or something.
The backyard, yeah.
You literally had a fake neighbor's house too. So
yes.
And what about the neighbor starting to cut through the metal fence? Or no, it looked like he was cutting metal.
Center block wall, basically.
Yeah.
The best way to describe it is, and I got this from a video earlier today, is he's like an NPC glitching. That's literally what it's like.
Yep. Which leads me back to maybe Layla.
Her attention is focused elsewhere, right? During that scene.
Yep.
She's dealing with the neighbor face to face inside the house.
Oh, that's true.
Her attention is not on the other two neighbors, so Vision interacts with them. They're maybe not as much under her influence at that point. So they're starting to run off the mouth a little bit, and they're glitching a little bit.
Huh.
Well, she's also going into labor, so she's a little bit distracted in that she's talking with the Geraldine. It's Geraldine, right?
Well, it is, but it isn't. So they've already let the cat out of the bag. This is Monica Rambeau. So she was Captain Marvel for a while. I believe her more recent name was Photon.
Oh, that's her.
Yeah.
I was thinking she kind of looked like Misty Knight from the comics, the Hero for Hire character. But okay, that's cool.
I guess
that's just Cosmic Hero too.
Yeah. So I don't know if she said it, I think, in the episode when Wanda asked her who she was. She said, I don't remember. And she kind of, that last part was under her breath a little bit, but I don't think she really knew who she was when she was in there.
Well, it's kind of like when Vision started talking to Wanda about how things didn't seem right, and then there was a replay.
Yeah.
They
rewind.
Paused the tape, rewound it, and
I think that was all Wanda at that point.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I mean. It was all Wanda. Wanda whatever's going on with Wanda. That lady may not remember. She may have been trapped there, or if she was sent in there, somehow it got convoluted with Wanda's scenario or magic or whatever's going on.
See, that's another thing that when they go in, when they're sent in, the operatives, are all of them kind of falling under her spell, or is there someone that's got a device that can kind of keep them out of character?
Maybe we should say why we keep saying sent in. Spoiler, folks, but at the end of this third episode, it looks like there's a large security-like fence. We don't know if it's around a distortion in space-time, or if it's doing its own, or if it's causing distortion. But it looks like there's a whole military base outside of this west in Westville town, wherever Wanda's doing this stuff.
Yeah, that's Sword that has basically set up that
Yeah.
perimeter.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's I guess a little bit up in the air, but they led pretty strongly, I think, down the road of that's her doing that, and they're just like they're surrounded that, they've isolated it, and they're sending people maybe in through that.
Well, I mean, ultimately, they wouldn't want any other civilians to just wander in, you know, get caught up in it. They're trying to keep the collateral damage, you know, minimal to this town.
Well, with the Sword being part of this, then it's on a galactic scale.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Sword, you know, is technically a government agency. They're ostensibly the good guys, so
The version of Shield, I guess you would say, but on a outer space kind of level.
They're like the gatekeepers. Like they're supposed to handle the intergalactic aliens, the invasion type things. They're supposed to be the first defense, first line of contact before aliens enter the Earth, which they do really a terrible job in the Marvel comics because these things are coming in and out all the time.
Maybe
They got no control.
hopefully
Plus, they're kind of Overwatch generally, aren't they?
They're supposed to be, but they're not doing squat. I mean, the Fantastic Four has people come in all the damn time. The mutants, they have a revolving door of guys coming in.
Yeah,
and they ain't doing nothing.
There's an invasion of the planet Earth from outer space, like every 3 to 4 issues of any given comic in Marvel.
And what do these guys do? I mean, they come in at the end like, "Oh, we're here to help. It's over.
Yeah.
Go home.
Look,
grab a broom, clean up."
when the aliens pass Earth, and you know the Marvel Universe Earth, you know most of them lock their doors and try to fly on by really quick.
Yeah. But the ones that are invading, if Sword is the toll booth, they go by, flip the toll keeper the bird, and don't even give a quarter. I mean, they go right by.
The only ones they can successfully stop are the Skrulls.
Yeah.
Looking at you, Danny.
Yeah. Looking at you, Danny. Looking at you.
Looking at you.
one of these days, the Skrulls will have a good story. I promise you. Maybe after I'm dead, but maybe because of my death. I don't know. They'll have a good story.
Yeah, and Aunt May will marry the Watcher too.
Don't go there. Just don't go there.
Is it going to be old wrinkly Aunt May or Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Don't go there.
You know, hot Aunt May. Which one is it going to be?
I may be speaking for Danley, but I think wrinklier the better, in his opinion.
No, I think deader the better.
Just as a complete aside here.
Sorry.
Sorry.
I'm triggered.
I started it. I triggered it.
Marvel Cinematic Universe Aunt May gets younger by like a decade with every reboot of the series. So next time out, like Peter is going to be older than Aunt May. Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah, Mary Jane's going to be Aunt May's babysitter.
Yeah. She is now. Everybody is Aunt May's babysitter. Everybody. She won't die.
Well, Tony Stark wanted to be her babysitter, but
She's as helpful as a speed.
That was awkward.
I was just waiting for Danny's reaction on that.
We're all waiting on Danny's reaction.
As helpful as a speed bump.
Hey, look, Paul. Sometimes Danny's jokes, like his drone, don't always land properly. Okay, so just
boy.
You know what? I'm not going to pick at Danny about this because if my boss are listening, I didn't wreck that drone. I don't know what happened. That video showing me going through the woods after it, that's a liar. I didn't do that.
You didn't see that second drone, did you? Never mind.
You never saw the one I was entrusted with one time.
Okay, we digress.
Yeah.
Drone talk for another time.
That probably should be the name of our show, but we digress because that's what
But we don't fly so well.
Oh,
You know
Yeah.
that.
we're basically a Monty Python sketch of, chasing the bunny trail there.
Oh, yes.
All right, it was all semi-Marvel related. Semi. Okay, so look, the first episode, Danny and I talked about this, like after I think we both only watched the first episode. I mean, I'd have been okay if Marvel was just really going like full in on this and just played it as a sitcom from now till the end of the series. It's just that well done. I didn't even need there to be a mystery box.
Right.
Heather, I agree. How about you? I mean, I thought it was phenomenal.
I was rather upset that they were changing decades already, and I was just like, no.
I actually could have done with an I Love Lucy kind of episode in there before they changed, See Wanda and Vision trying to keep up with the candy on the assembly line type thing from I Love Lucy. That would have been classic.
That would have been
Vision would have been perfect for that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
He has a much better comedic acting ability than I ever thought he would have.
his timing is impeccable as far as his comedic stuff.
Yeah,
But the acting of this whole thing is just great.
Yeah, both of these two star actors has shown me something. They could play possibly any role. I mean, I'd give them the benefit of the doubt now to play any role because they're doing this 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s comedy just perfect.
Yeah.
Look, we've got basically 40 more years to go through with these two. So,
Starsky and Dutch.
oh,
Starsky and Hutch. Oh, Heather became just a blank screen.
Okay.
For a second, I think there's going to be a Full House episode. I mean,
I was going there.
I feel, don't you? Yeah.
Well,
feel like
I think we're
going to
get.
House.
I think we're going to get Family Ties next.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah, but I think when we hit the 90s, it's definitely going to be Full House. Because
it could be the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
What's the one with Urkel? Family Matters? Family Ties?
Oh, Family Matters?
No.
Imagine an Urkel character in there,
Look, they could go so many different ones when you put the 90s, step by step.
Hey, the Cosby Show is a big massive.
Well, yeah.
I don't think
Cosby Show was
Boy
huge
World.
in the 80s, so yeah.
they won't touch that with a 10-foot pole. Though.
Yeah.
Which is,
But they almost have to do
which
a
is
Full
not
House
a rule that
episode.
Bill had as a general rule. But anyway.
Did you say Bill didn't have that rule?
No, Bill didn't he'd touch anything with a 10-foot pole.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Just leave the Huxtable alone, please. Just
Mhm. Mhm.
All right.
Only if he would have said that.
He was just trying to show these ladies the most splendiferous pudding pop ever made.
stop. Please, just stop.
And on that note, folks, we're going to take a short break. We'll have a word from our sponsor because, well, we don't get any money if we don't let them have a word. So we'll be right back.
Wait,
All right, welcome back, folks, to World Class Nerd. We're back for the second half of our discussion about WandaVision. So, I would have been happy if this show had drug out the sitcom aspect of it for a long time, but realistically, there can't really be that much left of that part of the story because we're starting to get bigger and bigger reveals. We're already through the 50s, 60s, 70s. That leaves 80s, 90s, teens, and that's it, right? I mean, so maybe 3 more episodes, and we're going to have to deal with the here and now. So do you think that's where they're going, or are they going to slow this down with some maybe 2-parters, or what do you think?
Have we determined that this is probably going to be just one season and done? Or could there be?
I don't know.
Because
honestly,
if it's one and done, I mean, if it's one and done, then things are starting to speed up. Like they probably need to a little bit.
I would suspect that it's a one and done. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know that Wanda and Vision are really set up for a 5-year story arc or anything like that. But
there's too many different movies that are coming on that need them out of that.
I mean, they're good characters, but even in the comics, neither one of them have been able to carry their own set individual comic series for more than a few issues, or even together as a married couple carry their own series for long. So, I mean, if this is one and done, they tell a good story, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
It leaves a good taste in your mouth as far as good story, good characters. Want to see more of them, put them in a group situation where you still get to see them.
Well, here's my question. Are they setting this series up? Are they setting up for a different movie franchise or a different television series?
Or just pass on to different characters?
Well, I was just thinking that with them having Billy and Tommy, now they are in the comics in a different group. I mean, they're grown. So they have their own lives that they're leading. So are they setting up? Because I know Hawkeye's going to have a series, right, with his daughter. So are they speeding this up to get up to the Millennium in order to get up with her? And
maybe get Young Avengers.
And the Young Avengers, and it'll be like a legacy. Is this where MCU is going?
Could be.
I mean, that's very, very possible.
That's a good, interesting theory, and it's just as plausible as anything else right now.
That's true at this point.
Well, back in the 90s, they had was it a Young Avengers cartoon? It was just like a cartoon movie.
Yeah, the animated.
Yes.
It was animated, and it was
or mid 2000s. But I remember it.
Yeah, and they the characters different. How they set that up, and like Tony Stark was still alive. I mean, of course, it's comics, anybody can come back to life, but they could be following that formula, but just doing it with a different cast of characters. Different setup.
Yeah, it certainly is possible that part of their intention is to get to the kids out of this storyline.
It's all about the kids.
Mm-hmm.
All about the kids.
I don't know though. It could end up being that the kids are just part of this fabricated reality, and once they come out of this, they're not real. Maybe
that's true.
Unfortunately, that happened in the comics.
I was going to say, now that happened for both her, and then didn't Vision in the comics make his own family?
Yes, and I don't know the whole story behind that because I honestly didn't pay that much attention to it when it was out. But it seems Wanda, once she found out her kids were basically surviving on her will alone and her magic, and she lost her kids, she went nuts and caused the M Day, which means that she snapped her fingers and, like Thanos, and said, "No more mutants." And then 99% of the mutants in the Marvel Universe lost their powers. And there's only like less than 50 left in the entire Marvel Universe that still had their powers. So she was the big bad for the X-Men. And with Vision, I don't know what it is, but he had his own synthezoid family.
Yeah.
Like in the Champions, there is a Vision. That's his daughter. She's a young synthezoid with his powers. So we did have a wife, son, daughter, dog.
Yeah.
Well,
whole family.
That's always been a theme with Wanda and Vision, has been the fact that they love each other, but they can't have kids, and it's always kind of messed with her. But with the MCU, technically, Vision's dead. I mean, because
that's why I think this is all a psychological break on her part, and her powers have gone crazy because she's lost her love of her life, and she's gone a little nuts and created this whole world. He's still alive, and they have a family. They have these scenarios they're going through are some of the most perfect family lives too. You know, Dick Van Dyke, the Brady's. You know, it's iconic family sitcoms.
Well, she would have watched that probably in her
when she was a little kid in the 50s, like Paul. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's something that me and you talked about, Bryan, about, well, you brought it up, about the missing numbers.
Yes.
And what that might lead to.
Yeah. So there's been 3 specific instances where they showed clocks and I think they were all clocks, and the number 6 was missing in each of those scenarios. Now, there have also been plenty of clocks that were shown that did have the number 6.
Mm-hmm.
3 were shown without. That's 3 6s missing. So there's the possibility there of Mephisto, maybe some introduction of Mephisto to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and maybe he's part of the shenanigans that are going on there. There were some references made to the devil being in the details and things like that.
Let's see, even one reference to I'm the Devil. Wasn't that at the pool club with what's her name? I forget her name. That's friends with Wanda, first friend on the show.
Oh,
Agnes.
Yeah, she said, didn't she say like I am the devil? Just kind of in reference to that.
I don't remember that, but I have noticed they've made references to 666 and stuff.
There is also an Agnes character from the comics who was an actual witch, and when
was she trying?
Agnes Hargress. Yeah. That was Wanda's teacher.
Yeah, when they were actually going with her as a legitimate witch, that was who was training her. Is that the same character? Maybe. I don't know. Could
be. Then again, she might just be a Slayer fan. 666, number of the beast. She's rocking out. That might be what that. There might be some music playing in the background. It's filtering into her fantasy.
Well, I think kind of like with DC, where they have the magic users. They had a whole series in DC where it was just like Constantine and the Enchantress and all them. You know what I'm talking about?
Dark Avengers?
Yeah.
No, not Dark Avengers.
No.
Avengers.
DC Dark. DC Dark. No, that's something else. No.
Justice League Dark.
Okay, yeah, DC After Dark is probably something on the Spice Network.
Yeah, I don't.
DC person.
Only on your local cable provider.
Oh.
But so you had that whole mystic, arcane kind of thing. So when you go to Marvel, why wouldn't they have it as well? You're dealing with someone who has, magic abilities. So
maybe she has magic abilities. I don't know. They're gonna have to figure out what version of Wanda this is. Maybe.
I like the version where she has her chaos abilities naturally, kind of like a mutant power, and she's a magic user. She's been trained in it. I like having both of those.
Would she be something? Would this? We talked about Doctor Strange earlier. Is this something that that they're going to kind of meld together with it, the magic stuff?
Oh, that's interesting because
I would like that.
The whole thing with the new Doctor Strange movie is that it's about the multiverse. So if she's featuring prominently in that, that there could be some stuff there. Yeah,
lots of relations abound.
It might be a chase through the multiverse to find a Vision.
Yeah,
her Vision is gone, and she's going to find Vision.
What just any Vision do, though?
Well, there's the whole Soul Stone aspect as well. So we really don't know exactly how that works with Vision being dead, but the Soul Stone is around, right?
Well, she has some sort of connection to it, doesn't she?
Yeah. Is this all sort of kind of taking place within the Soul Stone even? I don't know.
Oh.
Well, and also I keep going back to when Doctor Strange during Endgame went back and looked at all of the the possibilities and all that. And I wonder if that's in some way been triggered. Or if
This
that
takes place right immediately after Endgame. So,
Yeah.
possibility. At this point, we don't know enough. We have enough information to know something else is going on besides her being in sitcoms.
Yeah.
Her and her vision, but we really don't know what's going on. It's all speculation.
There's
It's
enough
all
that's
speculation.
got us hooked.
Well, I can tell you. I can tell you right now what's going to happen. I know what's going on here definitively, 100%. Because this is all a big mystery box, and nobody does mystery boxes better than J.J. Abrams. They are on the island in Lost. That's what's happening.
Oh,
That's the big reveal at the end of it. They're on the island with Hurley. Hurley's
The
still there.
neighbor is the smoke monster.
it
One of the
just
neighbors
lost
is the smoke monster.
all the viewers just now. With that reference, everybody quit watching it.
WandaVision has been canceled.
Yeah.
It is reminiscent of an Abrams style mystery box, though, that you're really pulled into this, and it's a slow reveal. I worry a little bit that, like, once the mystery is gone, and they're kind of moving quickly now, so if the mystery is gone with 4 or 5 episodes left to go, does the shows have the same pop to it when we're not all wondering what's happening? I don't know.
Yeah, or does it mystery, then Stephen King can't end the story, boom, we're done.
We just jump into the next set of characters or something.
I wonder if we're not going to have a few episodes of just kind of the easy rolling, kind of going, not anything too involved like perhaps this one was. And then we're going to hit more of the mystery stride again as they wrap up.
Maybe they may tone down the reveals for a couple episodes and just have fun with the sitcom aspect again. I'd be okay with that.
Or they may be having fun right now, send us down a different road that doesn't matter whatsoever.
They may give up sitcoms completely. Next episode, they're in the A-Team van trying to solve mysteries.
Oh, excellent.
Vision has a mohawk.
Excellent. Well, we won't have to worry about anybody getting killed in that episode.
Right, because they'll fire 9,000 rounds and everybody will be completely safe.
We're boring Heather to tears, apparently.
Yeah.
We're sorry.
Heather's up way past her bedtime.
Not an 18 fan.
I like the A-Team just fine, thank you. Not
For
that
next
makes me
time,
so
guys.
much, but
Lose the A-Team. Lose the A-Team.
who's the A-Team?
So, this is. Do you think this is something that's like tailored just to Wanda and Vision, like this level of experimental kind of programming, or are they testing the waters to do really weird things with some of the other series?
I hope this is just for them. I hope that they just having fun with it and kind of doing it, since their stories are, like Paul said earlier, just kind of, they don't generally have a huge arc together. I would hate to kind of see it be watered down by other shows, repeating this formula.
Yeah. I don't want Falcon and Winter Soldier to go down the road where there's a big mystery box, and not the sitcom thing either, but I don't want to see them go down the road of a big mystery box where, we're just waiting to see what's this really all about. I don't mind a cliffhanger, leading into the next episode, kind of like Mandalorian style. But I want to see Falcon and Winter Soldier be action and intrigue, not, what is this all about kind of thing.
Yeah, I think this is probably going to be a bridge, so to speak, into the next, like I say, characters that they're going to deal with. And I think they'll have their completely different adventure or whatever you want to call it, but a different way of doing it.
Well, it seems to have some pretty good momentum. There were some people who were skeptical after watching the first episode, but then I think it was smart to do the first two episodes on the first Friday, because one episode, some people might have been turned off by just the first episode.
Yeah.
Coming straight out of the MCU into this, they might not have really known what was going on with it at all. Doing two episodes, there was enough there in two episodes to really start pulling you in.
Oh yeah.
And then by the time this third one was over, you're absolutely hooked. So good formula. I think there's 9 episodes total for this. This is going to lead into, I think this ends, and then there's 2 weeks between the ending of this series and then the start of Falcon and Winter Soldier. So we're going to have, pretty good span of time here where the show is rolling on.
So are they going to go after Falcon and Winter Soldier into the Hawkeye series?
I'm not sure what the time frame is for the Hawkeye series. I don't know that it's finished filming yet.
Oh, okay.
I want to say the next one would be the Loki series, because that's got far enough down the road. Yeah, they actually got trailers for that.
I'm kind of surprised Loki hasn't popped in on this, and he may yet.
Yeah,
but
Not yet. I mean,
with it being a magical, he is chaos personified. So
it's funny to just see him pop in, with the cube in his hand, looking around like he just went into the wrong place. And
he made a wrong turn in Albuquerque.
that would be hilarious. Oh, blimey, what am I doing here?
Blimey. Also blimey.
It's a good word. It's seldom used word.
All right. So anybody got any last thoughts on WandaVision? Paul?
Excellent show. Phenomenal acting. Looking forward to seeing its conclusion, just so we kind of know what's going on. I recommend it to anybody that's looking for a new show to watch.
Yeah, agree. Danny?
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. If you've only seen the first episode or maybe even part of it and thought, okay, this is just a little too crazy, give it time. Watch the second episode. I guarantee you'll be hooked by then.
Yep. Heather?
I can't wait till Friday.
Yeah.
Friday's gonna be awesome, and I'm just trying to take 1 week at a time to get my feel.
I'm sitting here thinking, like, we may be coming off as a bunch of Disney Plus marks here, because like we just talked about The Mandalorian.
Fridays are good.
Yeah, I think we will need to follow up on this pretty much every week with not a whole massive discussion, but we need to touch base on this every week here on the show and talk about what's going on with it. And then it's only going to be a couple of weeks before, when WandaVision's done, then we're going to roll into Falcon and Winter Soldier, and we're probably going to give weekly updates on that. So,
it's like, hey, Disney Plus, take my money.
Yeah, well, hey, Disney Plus, maybe, sponsor us. That'd be great.
That's a great idea. I love the mouse. I will work for the mouse. I will wear Disney ears on my Green Lantern hat.
You've already do that.
Yeah. That's your evening lounge wear.
Oh, you don't want to see my evening lounge wear.
Oh, no, we don't.
My wife doesn't want to see it. She's
all I'll say is Dragon Con. That's all.
Yeah, we've all been to Dragon Con.
We don't need to bring up all that. Oh, no.
I'll just stop right there. Just Dragon Con.
Kind of like Vegas, but
yeah, what happens at Dragon Con stays at Dragon Con.
Well, what's remembered will stay at Dragon Con.
Yeah.
Well, that's the key. Some of it's not really remembered.
Not from a lack of trying.
Take just a minute here to say we miss cons.
We do.
Please come back.
I'd like to hit a few smaller cons.
I miss cons. I miss live music. I miss going to the movie theater and watching the premiere of a movie.
Yeah.
I didn't stop that.
Yeah.
I went and watched movies when they were when they were worthy of being watched.
They're just a lot of them are
There's just
garbage.
much out there.
Yeah.
Had a great time watching some of the classics back in the theaters, though. But,
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
all right, well, that's going to wrap up our talk about WandaVision for this week. Again, I suspect we will talk about the next WandaVision episode next week as well. We probably should do an Expanse episode. It's all going to depend on that guy in the World Class Nerd shirt there. If he wants to keep up on the show somewhat, or
Well, I gotta admit, I've not watched any of the new season, so I'm behind on it.
Me and Heather will talk about it.
Yeah. We'll just.
I mean, I want to watch it. I just haven't had time.
Hey, you've been so many comics and watching WandaVision, so working him like a dog for these podcasts.
No way.
He hates this stuff, but we're making him do it anyway.
You and I are doing 3 a week.
Yeah, absolutely. My number is probably going to increase, but 3 a week. That's a lot. That's a good reminder, folks. If you enjoy this podcast, there is a sister podcast for it, or we'll call it a brother podcast, featuring myself and Paul and Danny, called Tales of Long Box.
Danny's the sister, if anybody.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, we talk only about comics on that show, and we talk a lot about comics on that show. So, again, the link to that podcast will be in the show notes or down below if you're watching on YouTube. If you're not listening to that at this point, you should check it out if you like comics at all. If you don't, do it anyway. We're still just as goofy and say silly things. So listen.
Yeah, big old heads. I talk a lot more about MODOK in that show. Love MODOK. Not that anybody else does, but I do.
What was the name of that show again?
Tales from the Long Box.
Thank you. Okay.
I'm not on it. Even I know
Is that what it was, Danny? Is that?
Well, I didn't hear what the name of that show was, so I didn't think our listeners might have heard it.
Oh.
He was being proactive.
I got you back.
The truth is, we talked too much about Dragon Con, and he's having some flashbacks, and he literally
I had memory loss there, so I definitely was thinking about Dragon Con.
That's just because you were sleeping.
I did, sleeping, passing out, potatoes.
2 beer Paul.
2 beer Paul, and he's going to bed.
Yep.
All right, folks. We're probably going to cut this here just for the sake of our reputation, what little reputation we have at this point. So we'll be back next week. We'll talk more about WandaVision and something else. Maybe The Expanse. Maybe there'll be something else between now and then that we'll talk about. Listen, one show I would love to do in the somewhat near future, there's a cinematic universe that we've never talked about involving Godzilla and King Kong in the ultimate payoff of that. Godzilla versus King Kong is coming out.
You're speaking my language, baby. Giant monsters.
Right?
With big giant heads.
Big old head. All we need is some big robots that form from little smaller robots. Even better.
The space jets?
That's a good one. Gigantor. Voltron, baby.
Oh, Gigantor?
Gigantor, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
The space age robot.
The Micronauts.
Oh, yeah, Micronauts. Little robots, but still good.
So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff we've got to talk about in the near future, and we'll see how we can make all that work. No promises exactly what next week is going to be about, other than we'll probably talk about WandaVision and something else. Maybe just Paul talking about MODOK for 40 minutes.
I have a master's thesis on MODOK. I have diagrams I have cutaways that show what he looks like internally. A lot of
Well, Paul, I totally expect to have that as your background next week. Is
I
MODOK.
can do that.
It'll just be Paul's big head.
Maybe MODOK with my face on his body. That would be great.
That'd be an awesome little project. Just craft a little tiny MODOK like legs and a little MODOK arm coming off your head.
I've got enough action figures upstairs. I could do something like that.
Yeah. All right, that's your homework.
Everybody has a project now. Who has the best?
Oh boy.
All right. Well,
Oh my.
again, on that note, to salvage what dignity we have left, we're gonna sign off, and we'll talk to you next week. Paul, tell them goodbye.
Stay classy, comic fans.
That's Tales from the Long Box. This is a different show. You're gonna have
Drinker Ovaltine movie fans.
okay. World class nerd out. We'll see you guys next time.